So, that IELTS reading test got you feeling a little stressed out? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. But in the next few minutes, we're going to turn that anxiety into pure confidence using some really powerful, simple strategies. Let's do this. And this is the heart of the problem, isn't it? It feels like this impossible race against time. You've got 40 questions, thousands of words to read, and only 1 hour to do it all. It's designed to be a challenge for sure, but here's the thing. It's a game you can totally win, as long as you have the right game plan. Okay, so rule number 1 in any game, know the playing field. You've got to understand the structure of the test before you can even think about beating it. So let's break down this battlefield, shall we? First up, you're looking at 3 long reading passages. And when I say long, I mean it. We could be talking up to 2,700 words in total. That is a ton of text to get through with that clock just ticking away. And from all that text, you have to tackle 40 questions. Now, these are not your simple, what did you read questions. Nope, they come in all sorts of tricky formats, each one designed to test you in a completely different way.
And you've got to do the whole thing in just 60 minutes, 1 hour. And here's the kicker, and this is super, super important. You do not get extra time at the end to transfer your answers. You have to write them down on the answer sheet as you go. No exceptions.
All right, a quick but crucial point. You need to know which version of the test you're actually taking. There's the academic one, which pulls from things like journals and textbooks. Then there's the general training, which is more about everyday stuff like ads and manuals. Now, the strategies we're talking about today, they work for both, but the kind of text you'll be reading is totally different. Okay, so we've mapped out the battlefield. Now, let's talk about your gear, your mental toolkit. These are the golden rules you need to have in your head for the entire 60 minutes. This is your foundation. Now, these might look like common sense, but trust me, in the heat of the moment, they're lifesavers. Time is not on your side, so you have to be smart. You do not need to be a walking dictionary and understand every single word. Read the instructions, like really read them, because they change. And for goodness sake, if a question has you stumped, just take your best guess and move on. Don't let one tricky question sink your whole ship. And that leads me to this really important quote. So many students think a few tips are some kind of magic bullet. They're not. Tips are great, but they're just the starting point. Real success comes from knowing the strategy behind the tip. So with that foundation in place, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to break down some specific question types, starting with a real classic, the multiple choice question. On the surface, this one seems pretty straightforward, right? You get a question, a few options, you just pick the right one. Easy. But this is where the test designers really try to mess with you. So let's talk about the 2 biggest traps people fall into. The first one is a huge time waster, reading the entire passage before you even glance at the questions. Don't do it. The second trap, getting fooled by distractors. These are the sneaky answers that look right. Maybe they even use a key word from the text, but they're totally wrong. Okay, so how do you avoid these traps? Simple. You flip the script. You start with the question first, not the text. Underline the keywords in the question and in the options. Then you go hunting in the text. Scan for those keywords to find the right spot. Once you've found it, then you read that little section carefully. Your secret weapon here is the process of elimination. Get rid of the obviously wrong answers, and the right one will just about shine through. Awesome. Let's move on to another tricky one that needs a whole different approach, summary completion. So with this question type, they give you a little summary of part of the text, but there are gaps in it. Your mission is to fill in those blanks. Sometimes they give you a list of words to choose from, and other times you have to pull the exact words right out of the passage itself. So, where do people go wrong here? 2 main things. First, they completely forget about grammar. The word you choose has to make the sentence grammatically correct. If it doesn't, it's wrong, period. The other mistake is just looking for exact word matches. Remember, IELTS is a language test. They love using synonyms and paraphrasing to see if you really understand the meaning. So the winning strategy here is all about context and prediction. First, give the summary a quick read to get the general idea. Then, for each gap, try to predict what kind of word is missing. Is it a noun, a verb, an adjective? This helps narrow it down. Now, scan the main text, but look for synonyms of the words around the gap. Once you've pinpointed the right section, read it carefully and pick your word. And the final golden rule, reread the sentence with your word in it. Does it sound right? Does it make sense grammatically? If so, you've probably nailed it.
Okay, we've gone deep on a couple of tactics, but now I want you to zoom out with me for a second because the most important thing is a shift in your mindset. It's about going from being a person taking a test to being a strategist who is beating the test.
And here it is, the absolute bottom line. This test isn't just about how good your English is. I bet your English is already pretty great. The real difference maker, the thing that separates a good score from a fantastic score, is strategy. It's about how you use what you know when the pressure is on.
I mean, look at this. This really sums it up perfectly. Anybody can just read words on a page. But a strategist? A strategist reads with a plan. You have a plan for every single question type, and you're always watching that clock. That is how you win.
So, knowing the strategies, that's half the battle won right there. But the other half? Well, that's all about practice. You've now got the game plan for some of the toughest parts of this test. So the only question left is, are you ready to put it to work?